I know what you're all thinking, and by all I mean about 7, which is basically all, and yes, I am going to start this off with an apology. I'm sorry to the creators of Emerald City for saying that your show is a Game of Thrones copy. I hadn't appreciated the very small number of differences until I was presented with an actual carbon copy. So I'm sorry to all of you besooted middle-aged men as you dig up the corpses of long-dead respected franchises and piss in their empty eye sockets in a cynical attempt to fill an hour or so a week on a redundant network. I'm sorry I implied you also fiddled with the very much living corpse of Game of Thrones. Turns out you just took pictures of it naked from the bushes. No, the real culprit was the Last Kingdom. That creepy fucker isn't just dressed as Game of Thrones, it's wearing its fucking skin. There may be some people who say, well, what's wrong with a program emulating something that you begrudgingly gave second best show of 2016 to? Surely your face must be a deep shade of red because your body has used up its entire supply of white. And yes, I did say that Game of Thrones is great, and then swiftly went to a clinic for a checkup because I felt I'd traversed a path many before me had already. But the point is, surely it would be better all round if instead of trying to recapture the heart of a different show, you try and make one yourself. It's just going to be embarrassing to find out that you tried to emulate something superior and didn't actually think about the quality of your own work. Oh, wait, it's good? What a waste of the first third of this video that I actually wrote after seeing the show, but said it anyway to make a point I'm now completely undermining with all of these stupid words. The Last Kingdom is... You know what, I'm going to go through the rest of this video without mentioning that other show. The Last Kingdom tells the story of a Saxon England slowly being taken over by Vikings. The protagonist is Ultravox or something, a Saxon child captured and raised by Vikings. The story charts his growth from slightly irritating child actor to hunky sneering bloke man with a transition that I would describe as a factor 8 poldark for making middle-aged women sit cross-legged in a puddle. Since this is set hundreds of years before Britain kicked out the godnuts to piss off halfway around the world and make literally no mistakes ever, there's quite a strong religious presence in this show, as there sort of was in another show that I'm aware of. But instead of being a made-up religion with invented gods, this is a real-world actually existing religion with a made-up god. I have nothing against religion, apart from the fact it's a giant millstone dragging society back from sensibility. I mean, no, absolutely nothing. But if there is any level of historical accuracy in this show, then it's worth noting how far we've actually progressed in nearly 1200 years. You get all these fuckers in dresses banging on about how smashing God is. You know, that oppressive cloud cunt who frowns and floods places when gay people exist, but travels down to earth for high fives if a priest molests a child. What was I talking about before? Oh yeah, The Last Kingdom. Anyway, it's actually good. Yes, the characters aren't great, there's no motivation and their names are impossible to remember. Oh, and the story lands on the who gives a shit spectrum, but it has an underlying quality sewn into it that stops it from feeling bad. I mean, the first episode ends with one of the hairy bikers killing people whilst on fire. Rewind this video back, you did not mishear me. If I wasn't bound by some dumb commitment I made for some reason, I'd bring up a different show, out of nowhere, and mention how it effectively uses a large number of characters and settings to keep the pace up and keep everything interesting. Something about not keeping all of your eggs in one basket because sometimes one of those eggs is going to do fuck all and the basket is boring. This show I'm talking about, whose name escapes me right now, has the equivalent of a fiery Viking doing killings every episode, and while I wouldn't describe The Last Kingdom as boring, I would definitely say it makes a commitment that it can't stick to. It's a good show, but to be honest that only matters to me. If you're watching the show, then you've watched literally everything else. And it's good, it's fine, nothing special. I mean, it has got some stabbing and some nudity in it, because... fuck it. If the creators of this show didn't want us to make comparisons to Game of Thrones, then maybe they shouldn't have shoved its arm all the way up Game of Thrones, put a Viking hat on it and pretended it was some kind of puppet, whilst shouting different British regions in an accent that sounds as Scandinavian as I sound like Greg Proops playing a kazoo with his anus.